Moving on to the next point in our agenda, when we'll switch it up and talk a little bit about the implications for business strategy. And with us to sort that topic out is Oskar Täckström, who is the chief scientist at Sana. So very welcome to you, Oskar.
Yeah, so thank you. Oskar from Sana. I want to talk about the path to enterprise AI or AGI, artificial general intelligence, and how that relates to company strategy. Just want to mention a bit about Sana. So our focus is to build a leading enterprise AGI lab. We want to do that out of Stockholm. We also have offices in other countries, but all development is focused in Stockholm. And we are like an end-to-end partner. So we build both technical platform as well as help companies to basically adopt all of this in their strategy and also in deployment and so on. And so our basically starting point here is that AI will revolutionize how we work. And we believe that this will happen across the board, and relating back to the introduction from Daniel with agents and so on, and the increased capabilities. So what we believe we will see in the next 5 to 10 years are agents that are at the level of a PhD level or top percentile in many different areas. And these agents will have multimodal interface access, so they will basically be able to do what a human can do in these areas. And they will be able to reason and use tools, and they will also be trivially parallelizable, so that means you can deploy many different copies of the same agent at a quite low marginal cost once you've set this thing up. And why do we believe this will happen? So if you look at the latest years, scale is the key driver of AI capabilities. So to the left, we see the impact of adding more training time compute, so in the pre-training phase, and how that affects the abilities of the AI systems. And to the right, we see more recent development in test time compute, seeing the same pattern. So adding more computation at test time, we see rapidly improving capabilities. So even if we don't have any further development in the next few years beyond just scale, we can see that we will get a big leap in abilities across the board. So this graph shows here how after the deep learning era started, we have seen about 4x increase in flops used per year. And so if you extrapolate this, which seems likely based on research by Epoch AI, we will see the similar shift that we had from GPT-2 to GPT-4. We will see the same shift from GPT-4 to what comes next, the same kind of increase order of magnitude in compute and thereby capabilities in the next 10 years. On the flip side, you also see what we're seeing, a clear pattern of cost of intelligence trending towards near zero. So this means that inference time price goes down very rapidly. And so basically any business strategy, I think, should be rooted in fundamentals. And these are, I think, the fundamentals that we have. And if you look also just from a international perspective, sorry, that's on the next slide. But yeah, so basically any strategy has to be rooted in this. But if you look at what's happening, enterprises are unprepared. So everyone almost knows or believes that this transformation will happen. Research shows that about 60% or more of jobs will be significantly impacted by AI, but still a small fraction of companies actually knows how to get started or has get started on this journey. And if you look at this from an international perspective, comparing, for example, here the EU and US, we see clear patterns of Europe not investing at the same level. So you actually see relative investments in AI and cloud investment in Europe going down compared to the US. So since scale and computation is ultimate kind of driver here, this is something that every company needs to take into account, basically, and also like politically and from a national perspective. Okay, so why is this? Why are enterprises not able to or don't know exactly how to make use of this new technology and roll it out across the organizations and change how work is done? So part of the answer is that enterprise AI is really hard. And here's 4 different factors for why that's the case. So to deploy these things, similar to how you see scale giving increased capabilities, by giving, if to really solve like fundamental problems across an enterprise, you need to be able to connect these agents with every piece of knowledge and every tool and app that is available in an organization. So if you look at the operational efficiency of companies, it very much often comes down to how many hops do you need to go to solve a problem? How many people from different areas in the companies do you need to involve to solve a problem? And so a fundamental aspect of this to make this use of this technology is to actually combine and connect all of this across the organization and make that available to humans and agents alike. And this brings us to the next complexity, which is that to do that, you need to, solve security, data governance, and privacy issues, permissioning issues, and also in a lot of industries, like the AstraZeneca presentation talked about, basically there's like a lot of legal implications also for a lot of companies. So you have to navigate all of this. And then you need change management, right? So you need to basically, to really leverage this across the organization, every employee, every function in the company needs to rethink and reconsider how work is done to be able to take use of this, to realize the full potential of this technology. And another aspect here is that things are moving so fast, and this is hard, right? Because you want your strategy and how you deploy these things to be rooted in kind of the fundamentals and foundations. And when the world is changing so fast, if you plan for make a strategy based on where we are today, you're bound to fail. You basically need to look at where things are heading and sort of catch the ball where it's landing and not where you're standing today. And just concretely, it's shown that just getting more than something like 30% productivity improvements at an enterprise scale remains very challenging. And there's three pieces to this, coming back to also what I talked on the previous slide. So one is this whole integration of enterprise knowledge. So the challenge here is bridging, all different documents from different diverse systems and integrations, getting them together, putting the legal frameworks into place so that you can share the information in the ways you need to share them to make effective use of these systems. You also need to, I think, to get people to use this across the organization, you need to deploy these tools where people are. You need to basically have an UI kind of for AI where you can gradually roll these things out and make sure that people actually understand how this technology works and can use it and can kind of interact with these things in a way. I think so. This is similar, I think, to how the early digitization issues we faced, where we had to like reskill basically the whole organization in how to use computers. So it's similar. You're gonna have to reskill everyone in how to actually use these AI systems. And then that's also come down to the change management, not by solving that with technology, but solving that on the people side, making sure that people are trained, making sure that people feel safe and secure and can use this and understand how the systems work so that they can interact with them effectively, not turning everyone into an AI engineer. So on the technical side, what we're doing is we build this platform where you can solve all of these technical challenges of integrating all your knowledge, setting up all your agents, training the agents, customizing them, making it work for you. And that's one aspect of it. And then on the rollout side, we also enable you to deploy this gradually across the organization. So we have this 4-step framework, which I think is quite useful. So on the first step here is to just be able to, get all your information accessible across the organization. So that's more or less just semantic enterprise search. The second is inform. So roughly translating to RAG systems, right? So basically you use the first retrieval solution, and then you can not only just give users the documents they need, but you can actually give them the information they need to solve a particular task, help them with simple data analysis and so on. Third here is the act, where you actually start automating workflows, maybe then often doing that gradually also by having the human in the loop, so that the AI agents can ask for help when needed, ask for clarification, but then gradually solve more and more complex tasks for you. And then finally, this is also was nice to see in the AstraZeneca presentation on the decision front, having AI agents gradually starting to also adapt and decide autonomously where those decisions can be made. So yeah, I think this is kind of the framework for to use to effectively roll out and change how people work with agents across the whole organization. And so, yeah, I want to end there, basically.
Thank you very much, Oscar. And of course, we have a couple of questions for you as well. But before that, I just wanted to see, and what are your thoughts on this, Daniel?
Yeah, I think one of the key points on one of the slides was basically enterprise AI is hard. I 100% agree. It's often quite a lot of work to be done. It's difficult to get everything right, but it's time to start working on it in many, many cases, I think, because if you don't, someone else will, and these things are going to be extremely capable, especially like if we go back to AstraZeneca and Magnus, when you have this systemic view and things actually interacting together, it's way more beneficial than having one single agent or something like that. But a quick question to you, Oscar. So in your presentations, when do you hope to have, now you had a graph on training time and capability and testing time and capability. When will you have a graph saying agent scale and capability or something like that?
Yeah, I think we already see that for information retrieval, for example. If you spend more time on the retrieval, your search gets better as well. And I think you see that across the board. Like it's just in the first agent, when we started working with agents, it was, it seems just like, okay, now you give an LLM a tool, but the real power is when you then see this agent running like 10 different steps to solve an end-to-end complex problem, and then making a decision when it doesn't have a piece of data, revising its strategy, and like, oh, maybe I should look for this statistic on the web instead of your internal data, because that seems where I could find it. Then it finds that, creates the plot for you, writes the memo, and it's just a completely different game then. So I think you will get this combinatorial, like similar to exponential growth. I mean, combinatorial growth is like it's faster, right? So once you start to combine all these different tools, you get like even more capabilities, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm also thinking about this, it being hard with enterprise AI. And I'm thinking about all the inertia that is in our organizations, not to mention the public sector where it takes time. So what do you think the most important factors in the companies you see moving out of their inertia and getting their gears going? What differentiates them from the rest?
Clearly, you need the very top of the company to be completely bought in. Like once you have that, you see a tremendous momentum. I think that's one aspect of it, and that means also that you need to go quite big. So I think similar to these scaling laws, right? You add more compute and things start going up. If you stay like too low on your investment, you're gonna be like at that flat line. It's not gonna take off. So I think that's part of it also. Companies that go all in. That doesn't mean you go all in across the whole company from the start necessarily. You can also go all in, but you have to go all in some use case. If you go in like 10% across the board, maybe you will get slightly faster at writing emails. Maybe you'll get slightly better at finding something, but it's not going to unlock like completely different capabilities. So I think that's one of the key differentiators.
So to boldly invest with care, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, Oscar. We will invite you back shortly into this event.
Thank you.